Let's be honest, are the rigid structures we see in companies today, employee versus contractor, shareholder versus non-shareholder, are they really built for our fluid digital world? Well, the source material we're looking at today proposes a pretty radical new blueprint for how we could work, contribute, and belong. It's called the Continuum Enterprise, and we're going to break it all down.
So, here's how we're going to tackle this. First, we'll talk about getting beyond those old-school boxes and labels. Then, we'll dive into the heart of the model, the 5 levels of belonging. After that, we'll see how you can actually earn your place in this system and look at the AI engine that's supposed to keep it all fair. And finally, we'll cover the big advantages and ask the million-dollar question: is this really a new blueprint for the future?
All right, so the first big idea here is all about moving past the rigid boxes that companies love to put people in. The whole argument is that in the real world, how we contribute isn't just a simple on or off switch. It's much more of a fluid spectrum. So instead of these hard lines we're so used to, you're either an employee or a contractor, you're either management or your staff, the continuum model imagines something more like a flowing river. It's a fluid spectrum where your title really doesn't matter as much as what you actually contribute. This creates a gradient of belonging, a path that anyone can move along.
So, how does this whole gradient thing actually work in practice? Well, the model maps it out across 5 distinct levels of belonging. And what's cool is, this framework could really apply to almost any group, not just a company. It all starts with the outsider. That's basically anyone with no connection at all. From there, you might become an outsider, someone who's on the periphery, maybe watching more than participating. Then you have the semi-insider, who's in that transitional phase, starting to get some access. Next up is the insider, a stable, trusted member of the community. And right at the very core, you've got the in-insiders, the central nucleus that's driving the big decisions.
This quote just nails the feeling behind those levels. Insiders operate in space-dominant coordinates. What does that mean? It means they have a sense of permanence, a feeling of, I belong here. Outsiders, on the other hand, are time-dominant. Their connection feels temporary, uncertain. They're always kind of thinking, I might not be here tomorrow.
Okay, so here is the most important part. This is not a fixed hierarchy. The whole system is designed for people to move around. So how do you get from being an outsider to an insider? It's all about one thing: your verified contributions.
And there are basically 2 main ways to contribute. First, you've got timeshare labor. This is where you contribute your skills and your hours as flexibly as you want. The second path is micro-investment, where you contribute capital, becoming this cool hybrid participant who puts in both money and effort.
And this is the real game changer. As all your contributions, whether it's time or capital, start adding up and cross these preset thresholds, you automatically unlock real power. We're talking voting rights, getting on committees, and having a real seat at the decision-making table. It's a totally transparent path to influence.
Now, I know what you're probably thinking. A system this fluid, this dynamic? It raises a huge question. How on earth do you manage it all fairly? Well, the model's answer is technology, specifically an AI-driven fairness engine.
Exactly, right? With so many different kinds of contributions and people moving all over the place, how do you stop the classic problems like favoritism, office politics, and just plain inconsistent judgment that we see in pretty much every human-run system?
The argument here is that an AI engine is the answer. Where human judgment can be biased, inconsistent, and emotional, this AI is designed to be totally identity blind. It's neutral, it's mathematically consistent, and it's built to be immune to office politics. It looks at the contribution itself, not who the contributor is. The heart of this system is something called the Unified Contribution Index, or UCI. You could think of it like a universal translator for value. It takes all these different kinds of contributions, time, money, ideas, and it merges them all into a single transparent score that can be compared fairly across the board.
Now don't let the math scare you. It's actually pretty straightforward. T is for the time you put in. K is for capital invested. C rewards continuity, so sticking around and being engaged. I is for innovation, like bringing valuable new ideas to the table. And G represents governance work, like helping out on committees. The AI just weights each of these to create that one single score, representing your total value to the group.
But wait, it doesn't stop there. Your base UCI score then gets multiplied by a number based on your status level. This creates a really smart feedback loop.
It rewards the stability and the responsibility that comes with being an insider or an insider, while still making sure that contributions from the outsiders are valued fairly.
Okay, so you've got this AI doing all the math. But how can you trust the data it's using in the first place? Well, that's where blockchain comes in. It acts as a totally transparent, unchangeable ledger. Every single contribution gets time-stamped and locked in forever. So insiders can't just go back and tweak the records to help their friends. It's the trust layer for the entire system.
So that's the how. It sounds pretty complex, I know. But it begs the question, why would anyone go through all this trouble? Let's talk about the pretty significant advantages a model like this could bring.
On a social level, the benefits could be huge. It really opens the door for a lot more inclusion by creating a super clear, transparent path for anybody to move up. This in itself is a powerful motivator, and it's designed to just starve out all the political drama and favoritism that can make workplaces so toxic. And then there's the economic side of things. The model creates a really flexible labor market, and it opens up brand new ways to get capital from small-scale micro-investors. That combination can lower your fixed costs and build a governance structure that just scales perfectly as the organization grows.
And finally, and this is a big one, are the ethical advantages. The whole goal is algorithmic fairness, that is, identity blind. This could be a powerful way to protect underrepresented contributors from the biases that are baked into our current systems. And with the blockchain making everything transparent, every decision about rewards and status is completely open to audit.
So, when you put all of these pieces together, the fluid levels of belonging, the contribution-based mobility, and this AI fairness engine, what you really get is a potential blueprint for a totally new kind of organization.
Ultimately, the Continuum Enterprise is a vision for an organization that is fluid, that is fundamentally equitable, and that is massively scalable, all of it powered by AI and built on a foundation of verifiable trust thanks to the blockchain. But this whole vision leaves us with a really critical question to chew on. While this model is aiming for mathematical fairness, can an algorithm ever truly eliminate human bias from a system? Or, by handing over these crucial decisions to a piece of code, are we just creating a new and maybe even colder kind of boss?